Hello, hello, hello. I'm excited that you're here on our virtual field trip Friday, the day that we have visited the National Aquarium in Washington, D.C. And we are posting a whole bunch of different activities that have to do with an aquarium or ocean life on our classroom page today. And so this is an activity I'm going to do. You might be able to do this at home with different items. We are going to do sink or float. So we're going to play a game to predict whether different items, I've gathered a few here, if they sink or if they float. So I've got a rubber bin here filled with water. You could use your sink. You could use your bathtub. But for our filming purposes, I thought that this bin here, I usually use it when I'm mopping my floor, would be helpful. So that's what I've filled it up with water. And I also gathered some materials here, some different items. And I'm not going to go through them now, but we'll go through them one at a time when I pull them out. Doesn't really matter what it is that you find, just something that makes you curious, makes you ask, I wonder if this will sink or float. I've also got some paper because I'm going to write it down. There's going to be a second video that we do an activity with the information that we gather, the observations that we make, and we write them down. I'm going to use this for a second activity later. So here we go. I'm going to pick this one up first because it's on top. It's a full bottle of water. What do you think? Is it going to sink or is it going to float? Let's see. Putting it in. Did you see? Okay, so kind of tipped sideways. It is touching the bottom, but I think it's because my container's too shallow. It is there. Now it is floating. I think it's just that it was as tall as my container is. So I'm going to put that down under floating. So I'm just going to write that down here, water. And we're going to move on to the next thing. Let's see, what should I pick this time? I've picked an orange. What do you think? Sink or float? Oh, that's definitely floating. Can you see that? So oranges float. I'm going to write down orange right here underneath the word float. Float. Do you hear that F sound at the beginning of that word? Float. Okay. I've got here it's kind of hard to see there, I think, if I do it over here, a paper clip. So I wonder if this paper clip sinks or floats. Let's see. Oh, I almost dropped my phone in the bin of water, which would not have been good, but the paper clip definitely sank to the bottom of the bin. So over here, I'm going to write paper clip underneath the word sink. The S says sink. I'm writing paper clip. Do you hear those P's in that word? Paper clip. 3 P's. All right, I've got a spoon. What do you think, sink or float? That also sank to the bottom with a little thud. So underneath sink, I'm going to write the word spoon. Spoon. Okay. Now, I have this toy dinosaur. I believe it to be I think it's a Brontosaurus. What do you think? He's pretty long. I think he'll fit in there, though. Drop him in sideways and see what happens. Ooh. He stays right up on top. So the dinosaur floats. So I'm going to put over here. Remember, this word says sink. This says float. So I'm writing dinosaur. Dinosaur. Okay, I have got a green Duplo block, just like the ones we have at school. What do you think? Is it going to be a sink or a float? Float. Duplo block is floating. Duplo block. Okay. I've got a cow. It's a plastic cow. Do you have a prediction whether it's going to sink or float? Oh, that cow floats. Floats. So the cow floats. Okay, I've got a couple more things. Here I've got a green Hot Wheels car. What do you think? Sink or float? Oh, thud, thud, thud. It sank to the bottom of the bin. It's upside down. Can you see it down there in the bottom? With the spoon. So, the Hot Wheels car sinks. So that's the wrong side. That says float. I'm going to go over here to where it says sink. And I'm going to write Hot Wheels car sinks. I've got a penny. What do you think? Oh, thud, 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 thud. If you can see that down there, it's right next to the spoon. The penny also sank to the bottom of the container. So we're going to find the word that says sink and write penny. Okay, I got one more thing. I have got a cup. This is actually the cup that we sent home to you on Valentine's Day. So I'm going to dump the cup in and see what happens. Ah, the cup. The empty cup floats on top. I do have a question though. What do you think will happen if this cup gets filled up with water? Let's see. It's no longer empty. Now it's a full cup. What do you think will happen? Oh, still floated. It just dumped over. So the cup likes to float. He went to the bottom, but he bobbed back up. So the cup likes to float, even though I tried to sink it. Okay, so guys, that's the end of my sink or float video here. And I'm going to come back to this list in another video. But play sink or float at your house. Let me know what items you tried out in some water. And let me know, did they sink or did they float? I'll see you back in a few minutes. Bye.